If you've walked into a public bathroom lately and found it bathed in an eerie blue glow, you probably assumed it was a design choice. It isn't. That light was installed to stop people from injecting drugs. The idea is that blue light hides the color of your veins, so you can't find one to inject into. Cities hand these bulbs out for free. Coffee chains have swapped them into restrooms across the country. But the doctors who actually study this say it doesn't stop drug use at all. It just makes it more likely to kill someone. This is the story of how a light bulb became a weapon and who it was really aimed at. You've probably seen one without knowing what you were looking at. A Turkey Hill convenience store, a supermarket restroom, a Starbucks in the middle of a city. The logic sounds almost clever the first time you hear it. Your veins have a faint bluish tint under your skin. Flood the whole room with blue light and that contrast disappears. Suddenly the roadmap someone needs to inject is gone. So businesses started buying blue bulbs online for a few dollars each and screwing them into their bathrooms. There were no permits, no public debate, and no announcement to anyone. And here's why it spread so fast. It costs almost nothing. It requires zero training, and it lets a manager feel like they've done something about a terrifying problem. But feeling like you've solved something and actually solving it are two very different things. To understand why this took off, you have to go back to Philadelphia. In 2018, two black men were arrested at a Philly Starbucks for doing nothing more than sitting there. The backlash was enormous. To make it right, Starbucks announced its bathrooms were now open to everyone, customer or not. It was the decent thing to do. But in a city hit hard by the opioid crisis, those open bathrooms became one of the few private, unwatched spaces a person could find. So the blue lights appeared, first on porches, handed out by Philadelphia's own health department, then inside the Starbucks restrooms themselves. And the businesses swore it worked. The owner of a Tim Hortons in Woodstock, Ontario, said overdoses in his bathrooms dropped after the lights went in. From behind the counter, that looks like a win. Fewer ambulances, fewer bodies found by a teenage employee on shift. If you ran that store, you'd probably do the same thing. But that's exactly where the story turns. Because fewer overdoses in my bathroom is not the same as fewer overdoses. Back in 2013, researchers published a study in the Harm Reduction Journal looking at exactly this question. Their conclusion was blunt. Blue lights are unlikely to deter injection drug use, and they may increase the harm that comes with it. Sit with why that is for a second. Someone who is dependent on a drug and already in withdrawal is not going to see a blue light and calmly decide to go home. They're going to use anyway. Half the people interviewed in one study said they'd still inject in a blue-lit bathroom if they had nowhere else to go. The light doesn't stop them. It just takes away their ability to see. And that's when it gets dangerous. When you can't find the vein, you don't stop. You guess. You inject into the tissue around it instead. That leads to abscesses, serious infections, and long-term damage. Experienced users often switch to something even riskier called deep vein injecting, going after the big veins deep in the body that you can't see anyway. Blue light does nothing to stop that. It just makes everyone more likely to miss. Dr. Andrea Serrata, a harm reduction physician in London, Ontario, put it in a way that's hard to forget. Just because overdoses stopped happening in the Tim Hortons bathroom, she said, doesn't mean they stopped happening. Research shows people typically travel only about 500 meters from where they buy a drug to where they use it. So the injection didn't disappear. It just got pushed into an alley, a stairwell, a parked car, somewhere with no one around to call for help. In her words, the lights only move the injections into less safe spaces, probably resulting in more death. Here's the part that reframes the whole thing. The blue bulb isn't a one-off gimmick. It belongs to an entire design philosophy with a name. It's called hostile architecture, sometimes defensive design, sometimes exclusionary design, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Those metal armrests carving a bench into single seats so nobody can lie down. The narrow, slanted bus stop perch you can lean on but never sleep on. The spikes embedded in a dry patch of concrete under an awning. The boulders that appear overnight under a bridge where tents used to be. There's a famous one in London called the Camden Bench, commissioned back in 2012. It's a lump of angled concrete designed so you can't skate on it, sleep on it, or really sit on it comfortably either. It looks like modern art. It functions like a wall. The philosopher Robert Rosenberger wrote a whole book on these objects. He calls them callous by design, and that's the thread connecting all of it, including the blue light. None of these things solve homelessness or addiction. They're not built to. They're built to move the problem somewhere you won't have to look at it. This isn't even new. Cities were installing angled urine deflectors on building corners back in the 1800s. The materials changed. The intention never did. Now think about who else walks into that blue bathroom. An older person who needs to read a medication label. Someone with low vision who relies on contrast to see anything at all. A diabetic who needs to find a vein for a completely legal, life-sustaining reason. The light doesn't check your intentions at the door. It makes the room harder to use for everyone, while barely inconveniencing the one group it was aimed at. And people have started pushing back. When anti-homeless spikes went up outside a London building, the outcry got them ripped out within weeks. Even Boris Johnson called them stupid. Activists in Britain poured concrete over spikes and planted flowers in them. In Connecticut, lawmakers introduced a bill to ban hostile architecture outright, because once you understand what these designs are actually doing, the discomfort shifts. It's not the person sleeping on the bench who should make you uncomfortable. It's the decision to spend money, making sure they have nowhere to go. The blue light was supposed to be the humane version. No spikes, no confrontation, just a color. But a softer method aimed at the same goal is still aimed at the same goal. It doesn't help the person in crisis, it relocates them into the dark, alone, where a bad reaction becomes a fatal one. So the next time you see that strange blue glow spilling out of a public restroom, you'll know it isn't a vibe or a broken bulb. It's a decision, a quiet one, made by someone who wanted a hard problem to become invisible. And it's worth asking who else in your city is being designed out of existence. One bench, one bollard, one light bulb at a time. If you want to see how far this goes, I broke down the hidden hostile designs in everyday cities that you walk past without ever noticing. That video is on screen right now. Go watch it and subscribe so the next investigation finds you.